shit on me.
Episode 4.
Yo, partying is not allowed in here because you get it on the fucking mic screen.
That's what the screen's for, baby.
Yo, good thing I brought extra paper towel. It's not our first rodeo, boys.
All right, episode 4. We're ready. Mimosas are poured. Spills are cleaned. Bruce, you doing all right after that?
Yeah, I'm doing good. The good thing about wearing sweat clothing to everything I do is that it just really absorbs spills right away. It's like brawny, you know, right on my legs.
Greg, we feeling all right?
Nothing like a champagne shower with your boys on a Sunday morning.
Oh, it's perfect. It is Prosecco, however. I want to note that.
Prosecco straight from the springs of Norwalk, Connecticut.
The springs.
Below the bottom shelf.
The finest chlorinated Prosecco.
So we have a very special episode today. We're going to be taking you down to the North Florida forests of the Spirit of Suwannee Music Park, where Suwannee Rising happened. It was one of the greatest festival experiences for me in my short concert-going career. I don't know if that's just because I haven't been to a festival in so long or it truly was that good, but we're going to find out today.
Yeah, and today we'll also be accompanied by the organizer of the Suwannee Rising Music Festival, Paul Levine. We're going to talk a little bit about his journey through the scene and his career as a festival organizer. And we're also going to hear from those of you out there who we were lucky enough to meet and talk to on the festival grounds.
Well, since Marta, quote, lost, end quote, my plane ticket, I sadly was stuck back home, so don't mind my bitter comments sprinkled through Greg and Joey's reminiscings. But we'd like to remind you that we will be doing the same types of interviews at every show we go to, so get your stories ready because we want to hear from as many of you as possible.
But before we dive into the chilly waters of that Blackwater River, let's check out what's going on in the news.
All right, sports fans, Fantasy Goose is back and better than ever. We've got a whole new game, a whole bunch of new prizes, and a lot more new players. This is coming on the heels of a pretty incredible season with over 300 unique players nationwide. The guys have a whole bunch of new songs, a whole bunch of new covers, and I think the game's going to be pretty competitive. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'm excited. I'm currently ranked number 4 as of the recording of this episode for this season, so I'm going after the championship hard.
Yeah, I'm a little sour that Russo didn't accept the 4 lists that I sent him.
One submission only.
In different names?
Yeah, I've done it in the past, and they didn't get accepted then, but I thought this would be the time.
Now that we have the podcast, I mean,
I know.
Why else do it?
Where is my influence?
Your 4 submissions were just like things that rhyme with your name, so it wasn't really that clandestine.
One of them was really just a Madonna playlist that I had, so
burning up.
I didn't get any points from that.
8 burning ups in a row.
So we've got a pretty cool surprise for the winner of this season. Check it out on our socials. I'm not going to say exactly what it is right now, but this is something that we are going to be competing for that will live in infamy forever in the Goose world.
Fantasy Goose leveling up.
Yeah, there are no friends in this league, too.
No, all competition. Yeah. Leave that community kindness at the door.
Yeah. Don't play from the heart.
You can go see that PH band from Vermont if you want that. Nonsense.
Never heard of it.
They don't even have a fantasy game. They're boomers. Okay. So yeah. Oh, and on the heels of our hot episode 3 release, sizzling, deep cover, which if you didn't listen to, you should go back and definitely listen to it. I mean, you learned something.
Almost as good as episode 2.
Almost. Nothing can live up quite to episode 2 that we released. But there's actually a new Facebook group for songs that you think Goose should cover, and you definitely should join that, and feel free to spout off any nonsense covers that you want in that group, because El Goose is off limits now at this point. After 2 months, I think we've had maybe 2,000 posts about covers, so we're trying to alleviate the flood there.
They're not going to cover Sublime. Give it up.
Oh my God, if they do, I will give it up as well.
And also be sure to check out the separate Facebook group about songs you think Goose should cover that they've already covered.
We already have a subgroup of the subgroup.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see a lot of people in there. Can't wait.
Imagine how many good bands there would be out there if all the people who were committed to making troll groups just like took up a new hobby like instruments.
That would be a lot of work, though.
Yeah, that's rather just type a complaint.
I'd rather just talk into a mic. So
no offense to all of our listeners.
All right, next up, not many people know that our favorite Frenchman from Petit Lupin has an evil twin brother named Peter, and he's in a band called Fachon.
We watched a Norwegian linguist tell us how to pronounce it. It didn't seem correct.
Yeah, that O with the line through it, apparently it's pronounced
You got a tongue on the back of your bottom teeth, folks. That's how it's done.
That's how he told us to do it.
Yeah.
And they just released a new song called That Thing About You. Check it out. It's already added to Bruce's Late Night Pleasure playlist. So be sure to check it out across all your streaming platforms, as well as the music video that's up. Yeah, speaking of songs Goose should cover.
Playlist is called Quiet Storm. And yes, it is private. So you can message me directly for that link.
It is 3 minutes long, and
You should be able to tell by the lewd pictures of me that's on Spotify there. You can see it.
Silent Storm. Cool thing about the video, Peter plays a mango as percussion.
I saw that.
was that a mango? I thought it was a potato.
Well, let's ask Ben.
Oh, Ben. Oh, wait, no, he's not on the podcast. He's too cool for school, I guess.
I'm pretty sure mangoes are just orange potatoes for Ben anyway.
Yeah, it's an orange potato for me as well. Not very cultured.
Everything's a potato.
What is fruit? So it's in this mimosa. So we also have a number of shows coming up. Very excited about that. So maybe by the time this is out, we'll already have seen the Frederick shows go down in Maryland. But we also got Charleston and Tennessee. I'm super excited about. Those will be my first shows in a while. And we got streams for all of them. So definitely check that out. The live streams are pretty affordably priced, which is real nice. And then it just gives everybody an opportunity to go see these shows. I love the live streams now.
5-night couch tour package, baby.
Hell yeah.
Buy. The good thing about this, too, is if you buy the whole package through Live by Live, I think you'll have a full week to rewatch the shows. If you buy a partial package, 3 days to rewatch. But, I'm sure after Frederick will want to relive the memories day after day after day.
It's Live by Live, not Live X Live?
Depends who you ask.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's new to me.
It's fashion.
I just try not to say it, for sure. I try not to say it, really, because I don't know what to call it.
Right,
So I've just
right.
avoided it completely. The streaming of it.
Maybe it's Live times Live.
I've done Live.
Yeah, that would definitely make the most sense.
Distributed property. So stick around, stay tuned, because we are giving away one of the exclusive Spring Tour prints, if I can get close enough to the band to get one.
Is that a jab at me?
We lost your plane tickets again.
Yeah, I really don't blame Marta for that. It's HR. They've had it out for me in the Goose organization since day one. So, I don't know. It's lost.
Are you even an analyst anymore?
I've got it again. I've got to take that up with the organization.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back with our interview with the Paul Levine.
I'm a little bit too much of a super fan.
Security is tight these days.
Yeah, especially for some. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going down the pathway with the one and only Paul Levine, founder of Purple Hat Productions. He welcomed us to Suwannee for the first time, Goose's first time in Florida since 2017. We had a blast down there. Paul, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It was great, man. And thanks again for all you do. I just want to lead off with that. It was certainly an amazing time going down there. I'm sure a lot of the people in the crowd haven't experienced a concert, let alone a music festival like that in so long. So I just want to kick it off by saying thank you so much to you and your team. But
for sure.
To dive into things, I feel like a lot of people know you from your helpful Facebook posts, at least I do, about the Suwannee group. I know this was a unique festival, so people had a lot of questions, and you were really helpful in answering all of them. But I wanted to give you the opportunity to give us a little background on yourself, who you are, how you got into the scene, and most importantly, how you got into organizing festivals.
I got started in the scene just going to see Grateful Dead concerts and then sitting in my dorm room at college trying to figure out how to get the Grateful Dead come play at Lehigh University. That led to putting on small shows, and I lived in Aspen, Colorado for a period of time and was involved in opening up a little cafe that we had a stage, and we started having shows. And I love the restaurant business, but once I got the music business in my blood, that I knew that's where I wanted to be. And so we started doing more shows, and then we started putting on festivals. This was back in the late 90s.
Oh, really?
And then ended up coming to Florida to help start an organization that was putting on shows outside of Tallahassee, and finally found my way to the Spirit of the Suwannee, where I've been putting on shows since 2007.
So, Paul, we've got to ask the obligatory kind of pandemic question, in spring 2020, once everything started shutting down, what was your reaction to all of that? And was there any effort from Purple Hat or from anyone that you were working with to put on festivals in 2020, or did you just kind of start pivoting and planning for what a safe festival could look like in 2021?
Everybody was, at least at the beginning, was kind of the mind, oh yeah, a few months and everything will kind of go back to normal. Yeah. Or maybe by the fall everything's going to be, I don't think anybody really knew, and none of the, forecasts, well, I shouldn't say none, but nobody was predicting that it was going to take as long as it has. And so it was more of we were kind of more on standby to maybe try to do something at the end of 2020 to push Suwannee Rising from April maybe to November, because Florida has the benefit of good weather in a lot of months, other places don't. And we figured, all right, by then things will be under control. We didn't announce anything. We just, we told people that, we're monitoring the situation and we're going to do whatever is safe.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it was probably, late in the summer that we realized, that things are going to be different, that we're going to have to start thinking about canceling things even in 2021. That's when we started making moves.
Yeah, it was my first time down there at Spirit of Suwannee, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. I was talking to a lot of people who go frequently, and they were telling me about a lot of the differences between what the festival normally looks like to what it looked like this year. For people who didn't go or have never been, can you walk through some of the changes you guys had to make? Obviously, there were the pods, but like stage locations changed, and maybe the bill, there had to be a few less bands on it.
The location of where we had Suwannee Rising, isn't even a place that we've ever had a concert before in the park. It was the reason that we chose the location that we did was normally that area is the main entrance. Like if you come to Halloween, you would drive through that field and get your credentials and then go into the campgrounds. It's outside the campgrounds proper of the park. But it's massive. Yeah. It's a huge field. It has a very gentle slope about it. And it allowed us to, when you're trying to do a socially distant show and make people safe, your biggest ally is space. Yeah. And so, we used inside the venue, there's wonderful places to have shows, but to do what we did with the pods and keep people safe and, separated like we did, it was going to be more challenging. And so we thought the best thing for this time was to make that pivot and take the path of least resistance and, just use the land that we had, and it really did work out very well in terms of of the vision of the venue and how it was executed and how it played out. It really worked out really well. So we felt wonderful about it.
Yeah, you were talking about transforming that field that had never been used for concert venues. I feel like there's so much now that we've been talking about it so much on the podcast too, separately, that there's so many places that were never music venues. They were wedding locations or just farms that are now becoming music venues. So, the adaptability, I think, to the people in the scene, the people who really just want to put on shows, I think is a great testament to how dedicated everyone is, including the fan base.
Well, look, putting on shows for lots of people, the way they got started was, doing parties, and trying to figure something out of nothing. And and making something happen for people. And, so that, I think in our business, we have some of the hardest working and most creative people in any industries, that are always looking for ways to figure things out, how to make them work and how to make them better. And so, that part was actually a lot of fun, working with really smart people and trying to figure out how to do it the best way possible.
So speaking of kind of working with the team and getting it all together, let's talk a little bit about some of the acts we had at Suwannee Rising. Can you talk us through your process for selecting bands and how you organize the schedule? Well,
we had canceled the 2020 version of Suwannee Rising, but it was we had a great lineup. Phil Lesh was on it. Black Pumas were going to be joining us. And we weren't able to, to come back and do the same thing that had been canceled the year prior, but we tried to fit in some of the bands that had been scheduled to come in 2020, and we tried to we wanted to bring in because Phil Lesh was not. It wasn't the right time for him to come out and play a show.
Yeah.
And the Pumas couldn't do it, and so it gave us a great opportunity. We wanted to do two things when Phil and the Pumas couldn't join us. We wanted to bring back somebody that that our audience that's been coming to see shows in the spring for many years at the Suwannee Festival or other events, Suwannee Spring Fest or Purple Hatters Ball or whatever. We've had a lot of shows, Aura Festival. I wanted to bring back park favorites, but we also wanted to introduce the park to some new talent and some people that hadn't been to the park. And so we were really thrilled that we had an opportunity to invite Goose to be a part of that, and Humphreys and Lettuce. So we had a good mix of old time park favorites with some new folks. We were also able to have from the 2020 Suwannee Rising lineup, Mark Lettieri and Delvin Lamar. So it was a combination of those elements, trying to bring those to make good on our past promises to have certain acts, and the ones that we weren't able to have for this show. Well, we're looking forward to finally having them at the next Suwannee Rising or Halloween. One of the really horrible things about the pandemic for us was, and for a lot of the artists was, for people, for a lot of bands playing at the Suwannee is their first time is always a special time for folks, and a lot of people were really disappointed that they couldn't do it. So we look forward to making good on those promises down the road.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of great acts, though, anyway, on this bill.
Oh, yeah.
For Suwannee Rising, it was definitely awesome.
One I'm almost, thankful for was Soul Live was supposed to play, but Eric Krasno kind of pivoted, and we got Chapter 2 this year, which was unbelievable.
That's cool.
You'll hear audio clips from me at the show just obsessing over Chris Laughlin on Saturday. That was amazing.
Big Sexy is park royalty. We had the Bear Creek Festival at the park for many years. I don't know if you heard of it, but it was a funk centric festival.
Okay. That's where Big Sexy belongs.
I think we did that festival for 8 years, and Lettuce played the last 7, and Chapter 2 played it several times, and Soul Live and Carl Denson and Galactic and Dumpster Funk and New Master Sounds. It was based, George Porter was based in a lot of that kind of music, and with other amazing stuff included. But it had a kind of a jam cruise. It was considered kind of the part of the Holy Trinity with Jam Cruise and Jazz Fest for funk lovers. And so it was a lot of fun, and being able to have the opportunity this time to have Chris and Chapter 2 come back. it was just a right time, really good timing for it. Chris, I don't know if you know this, but he had some health issues and actually had to be resuscitated.
Oh wow!
Less than 2 years ago. So it was like an incredible thrill to see him even playing music.
And with so much energy too on stage. I mean, that's his whole. I mean, other than the fact that he rips on bass, the fact that he's up and dancing and his head's going back. I mean, that's why I
big smile.
Oh, always.
So Paul, every time we crossed paths, you were on the go, really working hard backstage, and I'm wondering how much time you had to check out music, specifically at Suwannee Rising, and who some of your favorites were from the weekend. It's not like this is a Goose podcast or anything, so don't feel pressured to say Goose. But yeah, wondering what you liked.
Well, I'm a music fan at heart. For a show like that with so few acts this year, we were able to really handpick and curate a special show. At least we thought so. So, I was so excited really to see all the bands. But for me, seeing bands I'd never seen before, Mark Lettieri was just incredible. I've seen him with Snarky Puppy at the park and other times, but never with his trio, and inspiring. The vibe walking on stage with Goose, all the way through the experience, there was so much fresh energy from the Goose community, that really seemed to combine really nicely with the Suwannee. I'm sure plenty of them are part of Suwannee family as well, but some of them aren't. So I'm sure there was a good number of people that were making their first trip to the park because of Goose, and that was really, really felt awesome.
Yeah, I'm definitely included in that group of who went down to Florida specifically for Goose and was just elated by the rest of the lineup as well. Carl Morris and Ethan Berlin and Ben Baruch and the Team Goose. For a little while, we tried, I think last year, to invite them, and didn't work out for whatever reason, so we've been talking about it. And this just turned out to be really, the kind of perfect opportunity for that to happen. We can't wait for them to play on the amphitheater. That's next. But just I felt like everybody, because of the circumstances of the pandemic, everybody that was out there, it was like they were seeing their first show again. Not just Goose fans, but everybody, and so bringing those communities together and the awesome show that Goose played was really exciting. There was a good number of the Goose management and team that was at the park, and was really great to meet everybody. It was refreshing, to see everybody was really working together. It seemed like everyone was having a great time. I experienced the park, and once you get that feeling at the park, you have it as soon as you drive on the site.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and Paul, I was unfortunately one of the ones that couldn't make it down for these shows, unlike Craig and Joey. But I've heard so many good things about the park itself at Suwannee and all of these events like Suwannee Rising, Resonate that's coming up. Halloween is an absolute fan favorite in the community. People love it. And so what I wanted to ask, in your opinion, really makes this park so special and these events so beloved by the community?
It's the campgrounds. It's the site in a lot of ways. The venue. You have a combination of cabins, upgraded campsites. You got 800 acres of primitive camping, most of it under trees and shaded, and a long tradition of people coming to a lot of different shows that have made the park their own and made it feel, call it home. And so you have this combination of this incredible venue with these people that take it personally You know, if you disrespect the park, they take it personally.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you got a ton of people that it's their favorite place in the world. You know, it's
for sure
where they feel like they're at home. And so when you have this beautiful venue, the campgrounds, and a group of people that feel that way about a place that they go to, you know, when that combination comes together for weekends like this with fabulous music, we don't always do the most popular music out of the park. We do the best live music, and that's our goal. To give people the best time and the best experience, and that translates in what happens in the campgrounds after music, before music, whatever is always special. You know, at the bluegrass events we have, and at all the shows, you know, after hours, there's incredible jam sessions in the campgrounds, people playing music together, and you know, sometimes, you know, Rising last year, Lettuce and Ghost Note ended up jamming at a campsite acoustically. You know,
awesome.
You know, so stuff like that happens, and
that's awesome.
It's just been an accumulation of incredible experiences and memories over the years, and the venue and the people together. That connection, Paul, is palpable for someone like me from the outside that hasn't yet been able to go there. I just see it all the time online, and you know, the connection between fans that go there and the connection between those fans and the park itself. It's so visible, and it's really something incredible.
I remember my first day there, people kept talking about, like, you have to see the river, you have to go to the river. And I was like, okay. So I went twice because my first time was just amazing. I went back to my campsite with my friends, like, you have to come tomorrow. Like, we have to go swim in the river. We saw a proposal at the river as well as the end of Andy Frasco set, which we'll listen to. I got a good interview with the happy couple.
What just happened here?
Well, we had a beautiful engagement here of Mr. Poop Shoot Canale and Wesley Roll right here. A lot of that was spurned from the love of this goose last night. Everybody got a lot of people here that lost their goose virginity.
Everybody who lost their goose virginity. Yeah. What'd you guys think of it?
Exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Still not walking right?
Kind of walking like a goose.
Yeah, so.
You guys come to the river often?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is our stomping grounds.
Donatello Gucciano's home base right here. We love it, man. That was a great show. Long live the goose, baby.
Yeah! Can I ask you guys a couple questions, if you don't mind?
Yeah, anything, man.
All right. Why did you choose this place to propose?
Well, one, we all our friends, she drove me here. When the first time we met, she was in another relationship, and she drove me here, and we were best. We just connected really hard, and I waited actually 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Until we connected again, and
the first time we kissed.
Wedding, and he got married here at the chapel, and
oh yeah.
And and finally she was at that wedding, and she was single, and I was like, yeah, I'm in love with you. I've been in love with you since the day I met you. I just can't wait to tell you.
Man, that's great, man.
And then it just kept going from there, and her family's actually weirdly from Live Oak, way back. Her grandmother, grandfather.
So the spirit is in you already.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, congratulations.
And it's Sweetwater, baby, way down upon the Suwannee River. If I got to tell you what this shit is, then they've been singing about this since the 1800s.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations, guys. It was nice meeting you. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck, guys. Have fun. Have fun tonight.
And then someone else was telling me they saw someone, spreading somebody's ashes on the river. So it really didn't hit me until I saw it, until I sat there and really experienced the whole river, that wow, there is this kind of mystical feeling that you feel from way back in the day when people used to come here and have these massive experiences. And the fact that that's the feeling we get at live music a lot, that you combine those two, both nature and the campsite and the live music. I mean, it really, gets people to a place that, it can change their lives, clearly.
It's back to really very primitive, kind of, I don't know, just people getting together.
Yeah.
You know, it's people will come to Suwannee regardless of who's playing at a festival. They just want to go hang out with their friends in the woods.
Right. That's a feeling I get from a lot of the fans of that park, for sure.
It's true, and you know, you combine it with a top-notch lineup. You know, and it's not just the music, you know, fans that love it. Like the bands love it, right? And so if you got, you know, add that to the element, you know, and like shows like Bear Creek or Rising now, where, you know, we're going to keep on booking it in that way. But a lot of these folks end up being friends, and we book people to stay for 2 days, and then it ends up being a lot of cross pollination, and you know, and new projects are founded, or people sit in with each other, whatever. And you know, when the artists are feeling the same way that the fans are about a place, the opportunity for magic exists. Doesn't mean it's going to be magic, but it might be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, one of the things with Goose too that I've always said to people is that, man, when they feel comfortable at a venue or an event, they just play lights out. And I've seen that too with other bands and other events that I've gone to and destination festivals and things like that. When the bands are comfortable and loose and feeling good, it really makes for a spectacular event.
And like Lettuce has played at the park they probably played close to 40 or 50 shows.
Oh, wow. Yeah, damn, I didn't realize
that. I mean, at Bear Creek, they played 2 shows every festival. They usually play two shows at the shows when we book them. You know,
Lettuce
people at the park just can't get enough of them.
Yeah, they're definitely fabulous, though. They put on a fabulous show. And those guys are cool as hell, too.
They're great.
Yeah, I've met Jesus before, luckily, at holidays. He was the man. I know Ben's a huge fan of Adam Deitch, and they've gotten friendly over the years. So yeah, it's just a cool group, man, and they really crush.
And to see them back with Krasno this year, that was, I think, my second time seeing Lettuce with Krasno.
Oh, that's cool.
Which I think they opened with Reunion, which was like a nice little moment. He's back.
I guess I didn't finish. You know, my favorite performances of the weekend, though. Well, Chapter 2 and you know, and the Lettuce set on Saturday with Krasno and Laughlin. It just reminded me of some incredible moments that we'd had in the park over the years, and you know, at Jazz Fest or other places, and you know, it was very special. You know, with Chris Laughlin there too, and like Jesus and Chris playing bass together, it was so great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to their set yet, their Saturday set, the Let Sanity from it, Chris does this amazing bass intro to it that I was spinning. It was so good, and then they just go into it like the horns just pop in. So go back and listen to that to all the listeners. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a killer set.
So the greatest part of the weekend for me, I don't want to go through this whole interview without mentioning the crew and everyone who worked on the site. So the safety squad was the coolest security team I've ever experienced. I mean, they were just so different from everyone else in that they're not trying to limit what people are doing. They're truly trying to help people out, keep them safe, and keep them having fun. So I really want to stress how great all the volunteers were to me, my friends, all my pod neighbors. I was just wondering what I guess if you want to call it a training process, or what you would tell them each day before they go out to patrol the pods.
Well, the safety squad was something that we decided we needed to do once we decided to do these potted events. We started off with some smaller shows, Bluegrass, Larry Keel, and Breasted. We did a show with Dumpster Funk and O'Teal for Mardi Gras. Mm-hmm. And what we realized was, you know, that the people coming, they want to do what's necessary to get live music back.
Yeah.
Yeah. They want to do what's necessary to get people back to work, by and large.
Right.
You know, I started realizing that wearing masks and all that kind of stuff, you know, if you take the politics out of it, all it is just, hey, this is what we got to do to get people back to work and see live music. You know, is it really that big of a deal?
Yeah.
It's not. Definitely. If this is what we got to do right now, and I can go see music tomorrow, then strap on a fucking mask.
Definitely. Definitely. I bought some comfortable ones just for that purpose and wear them as long as I need.
Yeah,
you know, and no big deal.
Really?
You know,
yeah.
and it's not easy putting on a show during COVID, and the setup was not easy. And we determined is that the bar for success during COVID is to give everyone the opportunity to feel safe. Yeah. That we could provide a venue and a layout that people could be in their pods. If they follow the rules, they absolutely could have been safe. And then it does come down to some personal responsibility. At some point, you have to, I can't control what you do when you're, walking around. I can't do that. But I know that most people were going to try to follow the protocols, and because they want people to go back to work and they want to see live music. And so most of them are predisposed to following the rules. But, you add some intoxicants into the mix and what have you, and a long day in the sun, and people might forget to put their mask on when they leave their pod to go to the bathroom.
Of course.
Or they may see their friends and grab them and pull them in their pod because they want to give them a hug. And it might be, you might have more than 6 in your pod for a second. You just, what the safety squad was there to do was just to, if you forgot your mask, to give you one. If you had too many people in your pod, to remind you how to count.
Yeah, and with a community like the jam community, which is usually very anti-authority and, will push back against rules, I feel like there was this freedom given on the campsite of, like you're saying, like, we're not going to force you to do anything, but as long as you're taking, your neighbor's health into account, like, everyone was pretty much following the rules. Everyone in lines for the bathroom were pretty socially distant, even though there weren't markers on the ground. So it was really refreshing to see this community, like you're saying, like, look out for each other, say, we just want to come back and we'll do whatever's necessary, even without necessarily having rules forced on us or, being scolded for not wearing a mask or anything like that. So it was really refreshing from you and your team to just have that freedom, but also have it still be safe.
I think, the whole strategy of, like, the safety squad comes from the hospitality side of things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're not getting approached by a security guard.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Right.
Unless you had a glass bottle.
You're getting approached by your peer. They had a vest on that that marked them, but we tried to make, the intention of the safety squad was to be fun.
Oh, yeah. They were dancing just as hard as anybody in the audience.
They hadn't seen music either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said before, I mean, it's just having that kind of that respect for people, like, like when security can come down hard on people, it's going to naturally have people be like, well, F off, I'm not going to do that. But when you have people that are actually respecting the fact that, hey, maybe just somebody made a mistake. Maybe just somebody forgot. Yeah, maybe it was somebody who was out in the sun all day and just accidentally, stepped in their friend's pod and wasn't really thinking about the restrictions because they're just kind of like absorbing that they're back to life and just respectfully talking to them and telling them, hey,
and some of them don't believe in it, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to try to step over the line maybe and go see a friend and have too many in your pod. Okay, we're there to remind them you're not supposed to do that. And, and it's not like we're yelling at them. We're just reminding them.
Oh, it's so much more effective.
And then they have the choice to, do the right thing. Hopefully, there was only... I don't think there was more than 1 or 2 instances when guests were a little bit out of line with a safety squad member,
Yeah.
But there was, of course that happens at any event.
Yep, it
you
does.
Get people that have a little bit too much to drink, whatever it is. But this was incredible. I mean, I thought for certain that the hardest night of the weekend was going to be Saturday night with Humphreys and Friday night. Goose's set was kind of at the time of the day. I think if they'd played later, we could have had the same, challenges. Who knows? But the audience was better behaved Saturday night during Humphreys than Friday night during Big Something.
Yeah.
And I attribute that to the safety squad doing a great job and the guests doing a great job of working with that crew. our crew. So a lot to feel good about, honestly, in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, and for sure, I heard nothing but good reviews. Really, I've not heard any kind of complaints from fans that it went, and especially fans in the Goose community. They loved the entire event, so Absolutely. It sounds like it went off without a hitch.
It felt like a festival.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't just the drive-ins had been fun, but this one really felt like a festival.
Yeah, I almost prefer the pods now.
Yeah,
I'm short. There's no tall guy standing in front of me. I can dance. Yeah, I like it.
Well, I think that there's a future with pods.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Not the whole venue, but a certain part. You could. It's all it is reserved seating.
Yeah.
People just need an address.
Yeah.
And a way to get somebody that's being a douche out of their space.
Yes.
Give them a little private rail to ride.
I think everybody likes that once in a while.
Right, yeah. Everyone's on the rail when they have their own pod. So Paul, I'm wondering, outside of Suwannee's beautiful space, what are some of your other kind of favorite concert venues nationwide that you would recommend to some of our listeners?
That's a good question. Well, lately, the St. Augustine Amphitheater around here has been doing a really good job too. It's kind of a in the forest kind of vibe,
Nice.
I haven't been going out as much as I used to.
One of many.
Everybody needs to go to Tipitina's, see some music in New Orleans. Blue Nile and Tipitina's and One-Eyed Jacks and Preservation Hall and all those great places. Yeah. It's Jazz Fest weekend right now. And, a lot of us are feeling it.
Oh, yeah, it's already on now. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm missing it.
Yeah, Jazz Fest 2014 was like, I fell in love with New Orleans then. That was my first time there, and it is an incredible city to see music in. Definitely, if you haven't, you have to.
I mean, Jazz Fest is
amazing.
For me, is like the mother of all things.
Yeah, it really is. It really is something else, man. I've been to a lot of festivals before that, and it blew my mind. Yeah, the whole city's a festival for like almost 2 weeks.
That's what it is. It's not the festival itself is ridiculous, but it's over at 7. It's like you still got dinner and 6 or 8 hours more of music.
Yeah, music till basically 4. People are like getting on at 4 sometimes. It's like, oh my god.
Oh god.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I'm tired thinking about it.
7 in the morning.
Yep.
7 in the morning. String cheese incident outside playing on top of a bus. Great Boy All Stars. Carl Denson his shows would always end in the daylight.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Jazz Fest. Go New York City. I miss. This year missed going to see some shows at Madison Square Garden and at the Beacon.
Yeah, these are our stops. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we're reporting live.
And I see there's a great new venue in Connecticut, which is.
We are so excited about the Westville Bowl. That's we grew up pretty close by. I saw Venus Williams play there in 1998. So really excited to get there and see what they've done with the space. I think they just started this weekend with Government Mule.
It looked great.
Yeah,
I went to boarding school in Santa Clara.
Oh yeah.
So I always hope for good things for the state.
Yeah.
Sure. No, we're still hoping.
We're waiting on it.
But this is definitely a good improvement, though.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Paul, thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you coming on. Great to learn a little bit more about you, including how to pronounce your last name. And we can't wait to get down to Florida and see you guys again. So do you have any words of advice to leave our listeners with as we dive into a summer of music?
Well, just one thing before we go.
Sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to give Ben a shout out for kicking ass with Humphreys McGee.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was psyched, dude. Humphreys is one of my favorite bands growing up, so it was really a special moment.
They adapted so well to that. I mean, honestly like a shit show that was just thrown at them headlining a festival, and their my favorite member of the band sadly couldn't be there, and they still crushed. It was an amazing set.
There's another example, right? You know, our people overcome, you know.
Yeah,
they do.
Definitely.
A lot of creative people can adapt, you know.
Ben did a really good job. I was thrilled. He obviously reviewed Humphreys McGee, and he looked like a kid in the candy store.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen a smile that big from him.
That's great. That's
ever.
great to hear.
I ran into him at the food trucks, him and his girlfriend Sam, and like he had this look on him that like now looking back it was like, oh, like I have to go on stage with Humphreys soon. Like and he's just trying to put that together. Which at the moment I was like, all right, like there's something going on. But
it's probably more intense than you realize.
Oh, for sure.
I would not be able to handle it.
No doubt.
I was nervous just watching. Well, yeah, again, Paul, thank you for everything that you do. I think on behalf of the whole community, we just are so thankful that you and your team were able to work so hard to provide an incredible experience for all of us. You've got a whole bunch of new Goose fans who will be back in the park for years to come.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate it. It was really great to make a connection with the team, and look forward to many more chances to do great things together and down the road.
For sure. Yeah, and I can't wait to get down there myself, man. But thanks a lot. It was a great conversation today, Paul. We really appreciate having you on.
Yeah, thanks so much, Paul.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
December 9th, 2017, Dundon Brewery in Dundon, Florida, was the last Goose show in Florida before Suwannee Rising.
How?
Who knows, you know? And fast forward a few years, headlining set at one of the most beautiful music parks in the country. The guys kicked it off with what, Joey?
They opened up with not what was planned. It was supposed to be Jive 2, but they chose to do a little audible once they got on stage and went into Lead the Way. Which, Bruce, what'd you think watching at home?
Leading the way with Lead the Way.
Leading the way with Lead the Way.
Very surprising. Band's full of surprises.
Strong start, good jam. Lead the Way, then Doc Brown, and even into Jive 2, I feel like the guys kind of shook off, 5 months of not playing in front of people. But really kind of locked in by the time they hit Time to Flee. One notable thing about Jive 2 kind of changed the arrangement around.
Yeah, so Ben started going into this double time a little bit over Peter's organ solo, which, can we talk about the Leslie speaker a little bit and the improvement to the sound that made throughout the entire show?
Yeah, it definitely sounded great, and that a little bit speedier jump into the Jive 2 jam was a surprise definitely to everybody listening. I mean, I was streaming on Darren's stream we were watching, and people in the chat were like, oh, yo, what's this? This is definitely a different way of handling Jive 2 than I had heard either, and it was really awesome. I mean, when I was coming here, it was funny, I was listening to that. Jive 2 started picking up speed right when I had this Maxima SV roll up next to my Fusion, had a Florida plate on it, and I was like, this guy has never seen the 4-cylinder EcoBoost, so we just went, I just took that organ solo, I was just like pedal to the metal. I lost miserably. I don't think he even knew we were racing, and I lost because it doesn't have a lot of pep, the Ford, but the Jive 2 had a lot of pep.
0 to 60 in 90 seconds. After Jive 2 hit a Time to Flee, sounded good. Always love Time to Flee.
Yeah, I expected a Green River as a nod to the Suwannee River, but the alligator reference, Florida, it was there, so we got something.
It works. It works.
Time to Flee jam wasn't bad either. It always a cool kind of jam vehicle these days.
Yeah, and it does. It goes in different directions.
Yeah.
You know, Gun Street Girl, Tom Waits tune. Last time played March 21st, 2020, live from Tease. They crushed it. You know, It's slow, laid back, swampy, if you will.
Yeah, I was gonna say that darker vibe with some of those songs. It's right in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, definitely. And if some people, I saw some fans got to see or at least hear the sound check. That was one they played at sound check. It was really cool.
Did you get to see the sound check?
I did. Luckily, you know, I started a podcast about this band, and they said, hey, you can stand at least 100 feet away from us and watch our sound check. And
Joey bragging as usual.
yeah, you know, not the only one who knows the band anymore, you two.
So you have a different podcast? Because this one's not about Goose.
That's a good point. Yeah, no.
I forgot about that.
Followed up with Turn Clouds.
Classic.
Love Turn Clouds. Always. And I think, like, it's a vibe. It's a little bit different. You have the second line style outro. Like a good kind of switching of gears, you know, to show people what the band can do.
Yeah, definitely from Time to Flee to Gun Street Girl to Turn Clouds is kind of a wide spectrum.
Yeah,
when you really
sure.
look at it. But Turn Clouds is definitely any time they drop it into any set, it's a welcome song.
Something I've always wanted to talk about with fans with Turn Clouds is, does anyone else miss the Moon Cabin version where in that build-up they go up instead of do like that breakdown? Like, I'm not saying I want that every time, but like once live, I would love to hear that version of it again.
I have actually seen people comment on that on the boards. I could even name names. I'm not gonna, but I've seen people comment that, and you know, it's a notable criticism, you know, or like not even a criticism, but just something of note. But yeah, definitely people have mentioned that, and I guess the band just decides to take a different route live with that a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean that is one. Like I think miss some of the original kind of tracks or parts of the tracks that turn me on to the band, but it is cool to watch how these things evolve live.
Definitely.
And speaking of how things evolve, we got an All I Need into Jive Lee. I mean, probably my personal highlight of the night was these two into one another.
Yes.
Most notably for me, Rick's tone had a little bit more grit, and I think that can be attributed to the fact that the guys traveled with instruments, but you know, things like amps were backlined, and so Rick was playing a different amp. I believe it was a Vox Tube amp, not the normal Mesa that he plays, and there was just a little bit more bite. And
so that's why they had the different amps. I didn't even.
Yeah, it's different amps, and it's like that. There was a little bit more bite. I think it's really noticeable, but seamless segue into Jive Lee, and that was pumping to close the set.
Yeah, those two songs going into each other, like you said, that was a highlight of the show. But something during that All I Need jam I noticed, and I noticed this several times throughout every show I go to, is their ability to build tension and release that tension, and then go right back into more tension and release it higher. Like, that's what I was most excited for, a huge new fan base down in Florida who most people hadn't seen them before, as you could tell by the mass amount of sound the crowd made when Peter asked who's this first Goose show. So that, I think, is the reason I fell in love with this band. So many people love this band so much, and what they do best is that tension and release.
And I think most people, and I was obviously listening from home, but most people I feel like that All I Need Jive Lee segment was probably the gem of the show. Plus, a couple things that I noticed that with that All I Need, the first jam, the hand drums sound excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent from Jeff. You can hear them loud and clear. And really the whole rhythm section and percussion, Trevor, Jeff, and Ben are like locked in so tight on that first jam section. It's sweet. And you wouldn't Jeff has very supple, soft hands, you know, gentle to the touch. And you wouldn't expect that. He was hammering on those drums. And then that second jam is cool. Kind of keeps up that tempo. That's where you hear a little bit more of the darker and a little bit more of the grit from Rick. And then it just leads so seamlessly into Jive Lee. You almost think it's like maybe still the All I Need jam until you really catch the chord changes and stuff. And it's like, it was sick. It was really, I even noticed it just listening in my car on my way for dinner, you know, that night. That I was like, this is awesome.
Let's take a listen to that right now. We'll listen to that transition from Need to Lee. Obviously, it won't do the whole thing justice, but the show's available on Bandcamp and Nugs. guys from?
Knoxville. Knoxville, but I live in Texas right now.
Okay, we're in Texas.
Texarkana.
Texarkana?
Yeah.
Hot spot for jam bands.
No, not really.
So, how many times have you seen Goose?
It was my first time. It was my first time.
One thing that you loved about it, one thing they can do better.
Oh man, they are incredible. It's every jam that I've wanted so far. They're super tight. I wish just from our seat, I wish the vocals were up just a little bit.
That's fine. I'm not going to tell them. You know they don't.
Yeah,
listen
that's more Sam Bardini.
That's more, yeah.
That's a Samson.
You know, he's part of the band.
Yeah. Man, just keep doing what you're doing, because it's obvious that they're influenced by a lot of bigger jam bands like Fish and Humphreys and all that, but they don't take that route and just go with it. They're not we're gonna be over a Humphreys jam band, or we're just gonna fucking meld minds, man.
Yeah, I mean, it melt faces. That's right. That's what we're talking about. Joe, you got any questions for these lads?
I mean, so you guys were supposed to see them on their spring tour with Pitch Playing Ping Pong opening for them, but it sadly got canceled. So how long you guys have been just building? Have you been listening to more Goose as the time has passed?
Oh man, so I watched the Rockefeller Center show. I've been watching every YouTube show that I can get my hands on. It's I wake up for work and that's one of my go-tos just to kind of get ready every morning. So it's just been a constant build ever since that show got canceled. Yeah, so Bonnaroo was doing this kind of live stream thing a few months ago. And yeah, I was playing it over the speakerphone or speakers of my job. And they were fucking turning on full throttle. I kept what's going on? What is this band? And yeah,
does everyone still work there?
Two people. Yeah, very nice.
Fair. Love you guys. Thank you.
Cool. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Goose on, dude.
All right, well, thanks to our fans from Suwannee for their okay analysis of the first set. Now we'll continue with the second. Obviously, something that we love to see open any set, but a great second set opener with Wisteria Lane. Start off a little bit slower maybe than usual, but they got right into the groove, sets the vibe, sets a great vibe for the second set, so always love to see that as an opener.
Yeah, it was a great reset button, I think, coming off that hot jive lead to be all right, set 2, we're coming back down the mountain, let's climb it one more time.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Right from there, we went into Inside Out, Spoon cover. Last time played was Bingo Tour, and I think only one other time in 2020 they played it in San Fran. Really good to hear Spoon.
Yeah, definitely. And next up, we had my call for the opener of the show, Confidently, but I failed, But eventually they played it. It was great for this Florida crowd. Flow Down had a great jam in the beginning, as it is one to do. We had a little bit of a tease, too. What was that tease, Greg?
It's a river lullaby from The Prince of Egypt.
Is that like a Disney movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought a different bird band covered Disney songs.
Well, Disney's for everyone.
Common trait for bird bands.
Some would say it's for the birds. Next up,
God.
Arcadia, out of nowhere. There's some photos circulating on the interwebs of the original set list. Arcadia was not on the set list. Called an audible, and they played a Smoke in Arcadia as the rain started.
Yeah, great audible to call. Also, you hear they play Arcadia obviously a lot. They always seem to crush Arcadia. And when I was listening back to this set, you get out of Flow Down, you get into Arcadia, okay. And then it starts rolling, and I kind of was lost, and I was like, oh my gosh, this Arcadia is actually ripping. And it's really subtly one of the very good Arcadias that they've played over the last, probably year of shows. It's really up there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think a great showcase for Peter's Clav, too. This song, every time they play it since he got that thing, I get so psyched when I hear him really just start to crush it on there.
Peter sounded great this entire show, so really, really good show from Peter.
Yeah, check out Greg's interview with the bands running down their rigs a little bit during soundcheck.
Yeah, you can check that out on our socials, on Instagram. We got a lot of behind-the-scenes shots, but I also was able to sit down with Rick and talk a little bit about why he chose that Arcadia audible. So why don't we take a listen? We're with someone who's dressed up like Rick tonight. He looks a lot like Rick. It seems like Arcadia was an audible. It seemed like a Bill Belichick level audible tonight that brought the rain in. Why did it happen, and why do you not want to do it ever again?
I'm not going to say. No, stop. I'm eating.
You should try.
I'm eating.
Okay.
You're never going to get used to it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get an answer soon.
Well, it's gone.
That's one? Oh, my God. What's number 3? Oh, my God. I haven't heard that one in a minute. Oh, shit. Are you singing?
What?
Are you singing right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Mr. Matt Campbell is here with us tonight. Thank you so much.
So insightful.
So insightful, you know.
I never would have thought that's how the band functions.
No, yeah, that was how he sings too. It's crazy. Crazy. Next up, we have Rosewood Heart, one of my favorites. I think kind of like I don't know. I feel like people need to put a little bit more respect on Rosewood Heart's name.
Yeah, I mean, I think it came to prominence with a lot of fans when they crushed that jam at South Farms.
At South Farms.
It's totally unexpected, too. Always a longtime favorite of mine as well from the band. Really great summer song. And they never expected them to take that jam out to places that they did then back at South Farms. But I always love hearing this song. I think the placement in this part of the second set kind of cool it down a little bit after the flow down Arcadia. It was a good spot for it.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those valleys where they started to come down a little bit and the rain started to pick up and they went right into Mas Que Nada, which usually if I saw it on the set list, I wouldn't necessarily miss it. But this jam just got me so hyped. I was dancing so hard in my pod. What'd you guys think about it?
I was moving. I was loving it. You know, I love Mas Que Nada, but also
yeah, so do I.
I do yearn for like every Rosewood to go 25 minutes. So, you know,
they did that to themselves, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
They set the bar too high for themselves.
Right, that's their own fault.
And after Mas Que Nada, we got the Slow Ready. I'm # Team So Ready. So anytime Slow Ready gets ripcorded, I'm cool with that.
Oh, it's funny. I'm quitting the podcast because I am Team Slow Ready till I die, till the death. But this was a stunted Slow Ready.
Yeah, the reason I'm Team Slow Ready is because of that second half jam most of the time to see Getty's laser beams, but I got cut off from that. And I wasn't upset about it. Like, let's be honest. I mean, what came next is my favorite Goose song right now, 100%.
Yeah, Empress absolutely tore that shit apart.
Came out of left field too. Stopping that Slow Ready and then just diving into something totally different with Empress.
You say it looks like rain today. Well, actually, it's raining pretty hard out there.
We can see on the stream on Darren's phone that there was rain coming.
Yeah, it was. I nearly drowned.
I guess everybody was right with that song.
Incredible way to close it out. Like, I think we're still kind of working on timing. Maybe one day these guys will do an encore, but you know, either way. The set list that they wrote out originally was pretty ambitious. There was a whole lot that they wanted to get to. They had originally planned for a Tumble encore. I would have loved to see how that crowd reacted to Tumble, but
Butter Rum in the place of Arcadia where they put that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
But I guess that leaves us a lot to look forward to.
For sure. I mean, you know, people always kind of poo-poo. Friends petit. He never poo-poos anything, but no, people kind of shit on these festival sets, but this was a great one. I think they tried to go a little bit outside of the bounds of a festival set, slipping in that Inside Out. Just that All I Needed into Jive Lee was an absolute monster. Great Arcadia, great Empress. So, you know, they gave fans what they want, a lot of new fans what they want, a lot of people who were new to Florida, you know, getting them a good taste of Goose with still giving that some of their older fans like a little bit of some new stuff, some flavor, and some special covers. So I think all in all, really a good set to kick off like a pretty long kind of sabbatical for those guys.
I want to give a shout out to Darren Organos, for streaming in El Goose. Huge for everybody. Just, you know, at home to be able to catch the set. Thank you, Darren, for getting that all set up. I actually was able to catch up with Darren, Joey, and myself at set break. So why don't we take a listen to that interview?
Definitely.
Vibing.
Yeah. Darren, as a person who used to stream shows when there was no one there, how does the power feel?
It's not about power. It's about sharing with the people and spreading the love.
Big thank you to Darren for streaming for all of us. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to seeing you again on the road. We'd also like to thank our guest, Paul Levine, for joining us today and everything he did to bring all of us together for a magical weekend to kick off what should be an incredible 2021. We'd also like to thank all of you. So we're going to give away a summer tour print. All you have to do to win is listen to this 15-second clip and identify the song, date, and venue. Head over to the Great Beyond Facebook page and leave your guesses in the contest thread.
Here we go. Okay, that's going to be an awesome contest. Great clip. I hope you guys can figure out where we got that from. And I hope the band will also realize how badly they need me at their shows next time. It will remember my tickets. But once again, be sure to look out for all of us this summer and feel free to come up, say hi, tell us your favorite stories about Goose, music, or just how much you love listening to our voices, which I know is a lot.
Absolutely. And just as a reminder, The Great Beyond was engineered by Robbie Chemical at Gary's Electric in Brooklyn, New York. On behalf of my co-hosts, I'd once again like to thank Paul Levine for everything he did to make that weekend possible, our manager, Kathleen Rothschild, and most of all, you, the listeners, for tuning in. Be sure to catch a ride with us next time down the pathway to The Great Beyond.